All right, take three. Welcome to Critical Weight Theory. So, normally this isn't a comedy podcast. In fact, I probably downplay comedy a little bit too much here, and it probably hurts my listenership or something. But I'm going to try to incorporate my comedy stylings into this episode because I've got a little bit of a stand up gig tomorrow. It's an open mic, and I'm going to be doing that again. In the past, I've actually made people laugh, believe it or not, like a number of people in the room. So it's not like I'm total failure up there. Just because I might have some detractors, they'll be like, "You suck. You're not funny at all," or whatever. But not everyone would agree with you. So this time around, I think I'm going to talk about how puzzling human sexuality can be. And I'm going to say that if I was to write a book about it, it might be about how puzzling it is. And I might call that book There's a Rubik's Cube in Your Pubics, Dude, which is a nice little thing that I came up with a while back. I find it funny, so I say it sometimes. And, what's weird about, having genitalia is that it always looks a little strange. Like, I've got this worm-like, dangly, snake-like thing that can get hard if it has certain thoughts that appear in my mind. It's like a weird little magical thing that happens, and it's often considered disgusting and gross. Yet, of course, boners are also essential to human survival because we wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for people getting those things. So it's a very strange thing, and really, if you think about it, like it's a bit of a blessing as well as a curse. And I don't want to let the ladies off the hook because sure, a snatch can be an attractive thing. It's something that a lot of people seek, and it can give you pleasure, and of course, it's something that also produces life and all that. But if you take a few steps back and you look at it from a certain angle and from a certain light, it might look like something that Sigourney Weaver would have to fend off with a flamethrower. You know what I mean? Like, they call it bumping uglies for a reason, if you really think about it. And lest you think that I'm just going after women with that comment, the penis is, well, for one thing, it's got a goofy ass name. Penis sounds like a joke unto itself. But it's also a freaky thing, because it's almost like it's got a mind of its own sometimes. And here's another freaky idea. Like, if you want nightmare fuel, think about it like this: if you're a dude, imagine going to the bathroom. You're at the urinal. You unzip it, and what do you know? Instead of a normal penis, there you have a cobra cock. Like, could you imagine that shit happening? Like, I could imagine that in like my darkest nightmares. Like a cobra's looking up at you. It's got its fangs bared. It's pissed off at you. I mean, it's an interesting conundrum, a cobra cock conundrum. How would you calm that thing down? I think that's an that's an interesting uh, question. Like, would you sing it a lullaby? I don't know. I would probably sing like A B C D E F G because I don't know all the words to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and they're actually both the same melody if you think about it. I probably will blow some people's minds out there just by reminding them that the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and A B C D E F G, the ABC song, they actually share the same melody. But anyway, I think what I might do is I might actually sing Starship's song "Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now." Like na 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 na. Nothing's gonna stop us now. I think that would really calm down a riled up cobra cock. I think that might do the trick because it's just a smoothing. I meant to say soothing, but it would be soothing to a cobra cock. I think I think it's a gentle song. There's a bit of nostalgia sort of built into Starship's sound, oddly enough. And, it could also be We Built This City on Rock and Roll. I guess I've just outed myself as a Starship fan. So, you know, do with that what you will. It's one of those possible controversies out there. But yeah, I'm gonna say it. I don't hate Starship, and I think the Cobra would appreciate it as well. But you also have to like wonder about like if you calm it down, um, do you put it back in your pants? I wouldn't do that anymore. I think it would just piss it off again. You'd be back at square one. So I think I'd just have to rock the Cobra cock everywhere I go. To be honest, I think it'd just be like dangling free or alert and active everywhere I go, and it would be up to everybody else to get used to it. On the plus side, really, I think you would be an instant celebrity over this. You'd be on a bunch of talk shows. You'd be on the news. You could write a tell-all book, and it could be inspirational. You could be on a bestsellers list. You could, you could call it Cobra Cock Serenade. How I tapped into my inner child to tame my outer serpent. Something like that. And I think you could really do well with it. You could have a Saturday morning cartoon show called Cobra Cock Commandos. Like they could have these cursed rings that the heroes wear. They have powers that they give to the Cobra Cocks. Like one could shoot out fire. I mean, imagine that. Like a Cobra Cock that can shoot fire out of its mouth. I think there wouldn't be a 8-year-old child there wouldn't be an 8-year-old boy in America who would have his eyes glued to the TV set to see that every week. Then you could have like one that shoots out, you know, seismic waves to create earthquakes. One could shoot wind, emit wind, and of course, one could just shoot out water because you got to have a lot of the elements represented. Um, One would have heart, one would have heart, just like the Captain Planet thing, and you know, you could have a lot of adventures each week. I don't know what the villain would be, but I guess it would be some sort of castrating force that wants to get rid of the Cobra Cox and conquer the world and all that kind of stuff. So, uh, interesting premise. And that's basically a good chunk of what my stand up will be about. I think I'm also going to talk about if I was a biker. You know, uh, I think the Cobra Cock would be a huge gift because I mean nobody's gonna call you a sissy if you wear a helmet if you have a Cobra Cock. You could even add a little helmet to the Cobra Cock, and it would be like it'd be just badass to have that Cobra swaying in the breeze as you ride on your Harley. You look like a badass out there, and, and all that kind of stuff. And I think another interesting question is where does the Cobra Cock come from? I think it would maybe be a curse that maybe pissed off some wizard or something, or how about it could be a mad scientist. I think a mad scientist would actually do pretty well to create a Cobra Cock. I think the death ray scientist can't always win at the mad scientist convention. They can't always get the award, the Maddie award, and it can't always be the human centipede guy either. I think the Cobra Cock would be a real winner at that prestigious event. And the talk of the town, I think. And I think if you really wanted to be a mad scientist, there are definitely worse ways you could attain that level of success. And I'm not sure exactly like what else I will add to this comedy routine, but that's already almost 10 minutes right there. So the gig is just like 10 minutes, and I could almost go over time with what I have right now. So it's going to be a bit of a weird thing to figure out, like uh exactly what I'm going to say, but it'll be different when there's a live audience there. I'm sure it will be potentially funnier at least. Um, but anyway, that's about it. Like that's pretty much what I'm going to talk about, and it's possible that I'll talk about some other things, but I'm just not sure. It all depends, you know. I might do something else entirely. And some of you out there, you're going to be like, this episode sucked. You weren't funny at all, etc., etc. But I think some people will find this material funny because it's juvenile and stupid. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. And yeah, have a good one.